Versatile Mage. Chapter 216 Southeast Asian. Mo Fan had his eyes fixated on a couple of people in formal wear. It was clear that these people were emitting a magic aura. Their faces were cautious as they watched Mo Fan. Among them, a relatively young man with a strong nose took a short step forward and said, "Magician, don't meddle. This girl was disrespectful towards our king, was disrespectful toward our young master. We don't plan on making it difficult for her, we only require her to apologize to our young master. Have you read too many wuxia novels, even talking about young masters? Isn't he just a wealthy second generation who has eaten his fill?" I Tutu immediately spat. Who are these people? Mo Fan carefully glanced at them and realized that although they did look Asian, the outlines of their eyes and faces were a bit different. They looked more like people from Southeast Asia. "I don't know," I Tutu said innocently. Mo Fan was speechless toward this girl. She dared to provoke them despite not knowing their background. "We are already very polite. Since we are unable to continue this in a good manner, then don't blame us," one of the men with a high nose said. After saying this, he began to emit an even stronger and fiercer magic aura. It carried a red heat as it spread into the surroundings in this cold weather. The other people were doing the same. They were all magicians who weren't weak, and they didn't seem to take the civilians on this street into account. "Little brother from the magic courts, we meet again. Hey, why are there magic activities?" Just when the opposite party was about to make a move, a middle-aged man greeted Mo Fan with a smile. Mo Fan turned around and realized it was the appraisal magician from the Magic Association, Guo Liu. "Ah, it's great appraiser Guo. You still remember me," Mo Fan said with a smile. He remembered that when he went to get his awakening, this great appraiser had been very cold toward him. So why was he being so warm now? Magic Court. The young man with a high nose immediately creased his eyebrows and glanced at the others. It seemed as though they were very scared of the magic courts. They didn't say anything else and instead turned around and left, not looking back or pursuing further. Mo Fan looked at the couple of strange Southeast Asian people and felt confused. Could it be that they came here illegally? Otherwise, why would they run away like rabbits when they heard magic courts? Did something happen? Guo Liu asked. "Oh, since you guys are familiar with each other, you can continue talking. I'll leave first." I Tutu's eyes flashed slyly. She ran away before finishing her words. Mo Fan was even more confused about the situation. However, he wasn't bothered enough to ask. He already had a lot of issues, so why would he care about that big milk rabbit's matters? "I'm not from the magic courts. The person who introduced me to you was my teacher," Mo Fan awkwardly explained. Oh, it's like that. Oh yeah, I saw your teacher, Tang Yu, a while ago. Her cultivation made even me, an old man, feel inferior," Guo Liu said with a sigh. "She's in Shanghai?" Mo Fan asked. "Yeah, she brought me along to assess a kind of jade. It was strange. I wonder why she was looking for a jade that attracts those from the snake clans. Carrying something like that around is relatively dangerous," Guo Liu said. Mo Fan remembered that Tang Yu had mentioned she was coming to Shanghai. He wondered why she hadn't contacted him. A while ago, Mo Fan had tried to reach her by phone, but it kept going to voicemail. During those times, she was on a mission. Snake Jade Stone. Just what kind of mission was Tang Yu doing to require such a strange item? "Next time you awaken, come to me, alright. I will definitely give you the best materials. Oh, the next time you awaken, you'll be a highly esteemed advanced magician," Guo Liu said. Alright, then I'll thank you in advance," Mo Fan nodded. After coming out of isolation, he had already encountered strange things. Firstly, he encountered the Southeast Asian people who were scared of the magic court, and then he heard about Tang Yu's strange mission. Forget it, these weren't things he could do anything about. After returning to his residence, Mo Fan realized that Mu Nuzhao, who seldom meditated in the living room, was sitting on the couch by herself. This girl must have practiced yoga before. Her sitting pose was extremely beautiful. From her plump chest to her hips and butt, the curves were so perfect that it made one forget how to think. Then, looking at her delicate, straight, long legs, bright, clean, and round, it was as if they were as fragile as glass. TSK, he could play with those legs for a whole year. Mu Nujiao must have sensed someone looking at her. However, she probably thought it was I Tutu, or she had reached a crucial stage. Ignoring him, she immersed herself in her cultivation. Very soon, Mo Fan noticed a bracelet on Mu Nujiao's wrist that was emitting a special light. It turned dark and then bright, matching the rhythm of her steady breathing. A nebula magic tool. Mo Fan looked at her in surprise. The higher quality Stardust magic tools were already extremely expensive. In Bo City, it seemed only Mu Ningzhu had a spirit-grade Stardust magic tool. On Mu Nujiao's arm was a nebula magic tool that could nourish nebulas. Although he couldn't determine its grade, the light and warmth it exuded were not inferior to the little loach pendant. Just how big were the assets of the Mu family to gift something so precious to a girl barely 20? After returning from winter vacation, Mo Fan sensed that Mu Nujiao's cultivation had increased significantly. Back then, he didn't dare confirm it, but now he could clearly sense it. Experts have their own fates, Mo Fan sighed. He had obtained the baptism of the three-step pagoda. His strength had advanced by leaps and bounds. Mu Nujiao, a disciple from a big ancestral family, must have had her own luck. Even if he could surpass normal people, it didn't mean he could completely outmatch those from prominent ancestral families who cultivated diligently. Mu Nujiao seemed to be preparing for the main campus examination. To enter the main campus, one had to have an outstanding performance. Mo Fan knew this. With many enemies, he would definitely face a very cruel test on the main campus examination. Furthermore, he also had to consider the Black Vatican, who could act against him at any time. Mo Fan didn't waste time. He went to the balcony to cultivate. Not long after he left, Mu Nujiao's beautiful lashes on the couch began to move. A pair of jade-like eyes opened slightly. She glanced at Mo Fan cultivating on the balcony, nibbled her lip, and asked, how did this guy increase his cultivation by so much? Mu Nujiao was unresigned. She had relied on her family's colossal resources. If she wanted to increase her cultivation, her family would do everything to help her. This Mo Fan clearly had nothing. So why was he able to maintain the same increase as her? His lightning nebula had definitely reached the second level. His summoning element had perhaps reached the intermediate level. She would have to put in even more effort. Without her family supporting her, she most likely wouldn't match him. Mu Nujiao closed her eyes again and entered deep meditation. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 217. Those beneath intermediate level do not have the qualifications. The road of cultivation had always been slow and dry. A lot of people loathe studying. They think studying is boring and tiresome. The truth is, even if you were to do something you really enjoy, if you did it without rest for a whole 365 days, it would also become boring and exhausting. It would become not just hating studying, but being unable to go back to finding it fun. In this world, the experience Mo Fan was most familiar with was that the process of magic cultivation was equally dry and monotonous. When that initial refreshing feeling gradually disappeared after months and years, all that supported him to not waste even a little bit of his time every single day was the motivation to become even stronger. Since the days were countable, one just had to persevere. Just like practicing control. Controlling every star was basically like carefully placing domino tiles. Your heart could not waver in this process, or no matter how much effort you put into controlling the stars, they would all collapse because of a small mistake. From linking a star path to drawing up a star atlas, each controlled star was like a domino tile, with energy hundreds or even thousands of times greater. To complete the star atlas efficiently and perfectly required daily practice. In any situation with external disturbances, the stars would almost always fail when interlinking. When controlling the stars, the heart would always waver. So, in battles concerning life and death, execution would be even less perfect. I am very gratified. From the day of the rookie competition until now, I've seen the growth of many people. I remember not too long ago, many regarded the main campus examination as a devil lingering around our Azure campus. It overlooked you, encouraged you, and caused you to cultivate bitterly for it. This was not wrong. Whether it was hearing it from others, experiencing it yourself, or receiving information about the main campus from somewhere else, I believe none of it was rumor. The reality will be even harsher. The Azure campus is the final destination for your youthful cultivation. It is the little pond of warmth before you face the torrents and waterfalls. Real magic development happens at the next stage. No matter how wronged, unfairly treated, or how much you've suffered, you need to endure it yourself. No one will sympathize with the weak. At the general meeting of the school, Dean Co, who had always been benevolent and kind toward all students, suddenly changed. His words caused many people to feel uncomfortable. Their beloved Dean Co had transformed into what seemed like a magic demon coach who cared only about magic. Could it be that the competition at the main campus was actually this cruel? Could it be that those with background and power could stir trouble as they pleased, while those without a background or with average strength could only hide in the corner? Any students who have yet to reach the intermediate level do not have the qualifications to undertake the main campus examination. Those who remain in the Azure campus are only allowed to stay for 3 years. During these 3 years, you have the privilege to enjoy the resources and benefits of being a student of the Pearl Institute. However, if you cannot break into the intermediate level within 3 years, please do not consider yourselves students of the Pearl Institute after you leave. Dean Co's words were like thunder reverberating in the minds of the students. If they didn't break through within 3 years, they would no longer be students of the Pearl Institute. Wasn't that inhumane? Those who aren't intermediate magicians may leave. This is not your battleground. Dean Co seemed like a completely different person, and many students felt unwilling. The dean today was no longer the teacher who once promised a beautiful future for everyone. He was now like a demon comparing everyone, ruthless in driving out the weak. Did you not understand? Weaklings are not suitable to become the real students of our Pearl Institute. What you need to do is to raise your head high and your chest out when you hear these words next year, and stay. Now, go put in the effort for the next year. Although a few complaints arose within the crowd, no one dared to refute him. Gradually, students who had been at Azure campus for a while began to walk away, their faces carrying unwillingness and humiliation. As for the new students, they stood there blankly, perhaps experiencing this kind of treatment for strength for the first time. In the past, no matter the student's level, the school would face criticism for discrimination. After seeing the senior students leave, some others also began to take steps and walk away. Li Junhao, let's go, a man said to his friend. Why? I'm this close to breaking through, why won't they let us participate in the main campus examination? Li Junhao protested. Let's go, we'll definitely stay next year. Damn it, damn it, damn it. These people, really, what are they feeling bad about? If you don't have the qualifications, then you just don't. Staying in the Azure campus is fine. Guguo, let's go, I know you're upset, don't worry, I'll treat you to some food, an indifferent, sloppy-looking guy said to his female friend. You can go. Guguo stood her ground. What's the point of just staying here? There are only intermediates. The sloppy man suddenly realized something as he looked at the girl in shock. He gasped, You broke through to intermediate. Yeah. I've been meaning to tell you. However, all you do every day is mix with that gang of scoundrels. I finally have some results today, Guguo replied indifferently. She would stay, and he would leave. The conversation between the guy and the girl was accidentally heard by Mo Fan nearby. After seeing the sloppy student leave with a depressed spirit, Mo Fan couldn't help but sigh. It wasn't that the girl was heartless. When two people are pursuing different goals, there is no point in walking together. Mo Fan actually admired Guguo's decision. Girls often liked those with money, good looks, and those who could make them happy. How could average-looking, but powerful, guys compete? Many people put effort into cultivation because of the saying, if you're ugly, then you should learn magic. Only those who cultivated seriously were suitable for such girls. People began to leave. Students nowadays had hearts of glass. They suffered a little unfairness, yet acted as though they had experienced enormous injustice. If Mo Fan himself was still at the primary level, he would have been the first to leave. Weakness meant that being told to leave was for your own good. If you met a magical beast, it would tear you apart just because you were weak. There were around 50,000 students at the school meeting. Unlike the main campus examination in the past, where everyone could participate but disqualification was frequent, this time Dean Seo directly cut off all who had yet to reach the intermediate level. This courage was not something an ordinary teacher could display. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 218 The Great Hunt. Those who stayed, congratulations on being admitted to the main campus area, Dean Seo announced, his attitude transformed. No way, we got admitted just like that. Didn't they say we had an exam? Yeah. Why are there no exams? Are we really not taking any tests? If some people at the primary level stayed, wouldn't they have profited from it? Would that still count? The people remaining seemed to number about 1,000. This exceeded the imagination of many. However, thinking about it, it made sense. Entering the intermediate level and being able to unleash an intermediate magic were two different concepts. Among the crowd, there would surely be some who had entered the intermediate level but were still far from being able to draw a star atlas. If there's no examination, then how do we determine the top 10? I heard the first place will be allowed to enter the 3-step pagoda. Second and third places could obtain a magic tool. 4th to 10th places would get other rewards. Someone immediately objected. Dean Seo seemed to have anticipated this discussion. He waited until everyone had finished speaking before slowly producing a scroll from his breast pocket containing instructions. A few days ago, we received information that a shadow beast used by the government for taming has escaped due to supervision issues. The shadow beast possesses some shadow elemental abilities and can hide very well at night. During the day, it sneaks through the city, making it extremely difficult to locate. This shadow beast has undergone special training, so it will not attack humans on its own, nor will it try to massacre anyone. It is currently wandering somewhere in Shanghai. Our school is to assist the government. The moment you find any trail of the shadow beast, you are to notify them immediately. Right now, your task is to catch this shadow beast alive and return it to the government. This will serve as the placement examination for the main campus. After Dean Seo announced this mission, a buzz erupted among the 1,000 students. They had expected the main campus examination to be a large-scale battle royale. They thought it would be a competition between students, but it turned out to be an actual military mission. What is worth mentioning is that the shadow beast won't attack humans on its own. However, if attacked or pursued, its temperament will change drastically. Its danger level will be no less than that of a regular magical beast. That is why, when capturing it, you will need to plan carefully. The student or group that catches it and delivers it to the school's beast cage will receive the reward. If a single person finishes it, they will get the full reward. If it's a group, with a limit of 5, they will share the reward. The reward is an opportunity to enter the 3-step pagoda. Dean Seo explained. 3-step pagoda. Heavens, it's the 3-step pagoda. As the words left Dean Seo's mouth, the 1,000 students nearly went wild. Even students within the main campus would fight for the 3-step pagoda. This time, Dean Seo had given out 5 spots. Mo Fan had personally entered the 3-step pagoda to cultivate. He knew exactly how frightening the cultivation speed could be for magicians. If he had directly charged into the third layer, the 200x cultivation speed would have been incredibly useful. With just a few more days, Mo Fan firmly believed he could elevate his other elements to a new level. The first day after leaving the 3-step pagoda, Mo Fan had promised himself he would return. And now, that opportunity had come so quickly. The reward for the main campus examination was a chance to enter the 3-step pagoda. Perfect. This was too good. He could enter the third layer, and if he cultivated there for 7 days, Mo Fan's shadow and summoning elements would both increase to the second level. A nearby student asked excitedly, "Dean, are there any hints or trails?" Dean Seo shook his head. "You'll have to find it on your own." Happiness was one thing, excitement another. But this mission, with no hints or clues, had already become a massive obstacle for the 1,000 students taking the test. The outskirts of Shanghai combined with the city itself formed an incredibly large area. There were countless alleys and streets. Trying to find a shadow beast capable of concealing itself in this busy city was like fishing for a needle in the sea. Mo Fan truly needed to enter the 3-step pagoda again. When he entered the third layer previously, he had focused on cultivating the fire element. He had already touched the third level of fire magic. Given 2 more days, his fire nebula would definitely reach the third level. Beneath the advanced level, Mo Fan had no need to fear anyone. Additionally, his shadow element had just entered the nebula stage. The control of his giant shadow spike star atlas had been cultivated inside the 3-step pagoda. Without it, he would have needed more than half a year to cast it. What was once nearly impossible was now something he was very familiar with. As for the summoning element, Mo Fan was still unable to draw the intermediate star atlas. Time in the 3-step pagoda had been limited. He had focused on fire and lightning cultivation. Next time, he had 2 options: charge into the third level of fire, or raise his shadow and summoning elements. For someone like Mo Fan, with many elements, entering the 3-step pagoda once could increase his strength by at least 1 level. The shadow beast, if only Ling Ling were here. She's an expert in pursuing beasts and could even find creatures hiding under human skin. This kind of shadow beast would be nothing for her. Mo Fan muttered to himself. Mo Fan was already a high-level hunter, but he was at his wit's end and had no idea where to start. After returning to his room, Mo Fan opened his computer to research the shadow beast, hoping to discover any special habits. Mo Fan, since the examination allows group formation, why don't you join our beautiful girls group? Look, with me, filled with knowledge, the knowledgeable and powerful big sister Mew, you, who are fierce and capable in combat, and 2 others with strong control abilities, we'll definitely be invincible. I-Tutu charged into the room excitedly, her 2 jade hairs bouncing in front of Mo Fan. Mo Fan raised his head and glanced at I-Tutu's expectant face, then at Mu Nujiao, who was changing her shoes. Find someone else, Mo Fan said, shaking his head. He had no intention of joining them. Don't tell me you're planning to do it alone. Aya, how could you be like that? We, the beautiful girl group, invited you sincerely. Don't you know your reputation in school is terrible? No one else would want to join you. Only Sister Mew and I don't avoid you, and yet, you reject us. I will bite you to death. I-Tutu flustered. Tutu, stop causing trouble, Mu Nujiao said immediately. Mo Fan didn't feel like explaining. The truth was, it wasn't that he didn't want to form a group. After all, there was no difference between rewards for 1 person or a group of 5. However, Mo Fan was very aware of his current situation. Perhaps the Black Vatican didn't dare make noise within the school, but outside, they would do anything. He didn't want to involve these 2 girls. The Black Vatican would not be lenient just because they were beautiful. Chapter end. Versatile Mage. Chapter 219 Setting a Trap. When the Black Vatican did things, they tended to use sly schemes. Right now, there were no movements from them. which only signified that they had been scheming in order to have it all done at once. Their most beautiful opportunity to make a move would be the unavoidable main campus examination. The main campus examination couldn't exactly disappear. If it did not take place, that would only notify the Black Vatican that the different powers were on guard against them. Furthermore, the Pearl Institute couldn't exactly cancel such an important matter just because they were suspicious. Forget it, let's not think about these things. Let's find the Shadow Beast first. Monkey, you're currently in the army, right? Mo Fan called Zhang Xiaohu's number. Yeah. Brother Fan, let me tell you, I'm really amazing right now. As soon as Zhang Xiaohu heard Mo Fan calling, the serious demeanor he had built up within the army suddenly turned into a child trying to brag about his grades as he began boasting. Did you apply to the central section on your own? Mo Fan asked, feeling slightly shocked. Zhang Xiaohu seemed to have mixed in well with the army. The army was making efforts to nurture him. Although he had to go through a year of central section training, he would be promoted to an officer once he returned. Yeah, you can learn a lot of things from there. Brother Fan, did you need something from me? Zhang Xiaohu asked. After their separation in Bo City, Zhang Xiaohu had chosen to enter the army. He chose a road that the majority of students did not take, while Mo Fan went to Shanghai and competed within his school. The two of them walked different paths, but that did not affect their friendship. Yeah, I want to know more about one of the domesticated beasts in the army, the Shadow Beast, Mo Fan said. I'm not responsible for that area. However, I do have a companion who specializes in taking care of shadow beasts. I might not be able to get extremely classified information, but the more common things won't be a problem, Zhang Xiaohu said. Zhang Xiaohu's work ethic was quite high. Mo Fan called him in the morning, and by the afternoon, he had already sent the materials regarding the Shadow Beast over to Mo Fan. Brother Fan, if you are ever around the central section of the army, come and find me, I really miss you. I will. Brother Fan, you must be really impressive now, right? Of course. Brother Fan, you are still so immodest. Zhang Xiaohu's companion really helped Mo Fan a lot. The materials stated that the shadow beasts that had been domesticated had an extreme craving for beef. They would have to eat at least half a cow every day. If you wanted to find a wandering shadow beast within Shanghai, then you'd have to start finding clues from some of the beef processing factories within Shanghai. Mo Fan wasn't in a hurry to go to the beef processing factories. Shanghai was a colossal city. The larger beef processing factories might not number 1,000, but there would be at least 800. To find a shadow beast was easier said than done. Soon enough, Mo Fan arrived at a police station. A high-tier hunter's identity was no less than that of an officer. Mo Fan was able to use the police to help him find information regarding thefts. Mr. Hunter, the reports that you wanted have been sorted. Since most of these are trivial matters, and a lot of these are about stealing and destroying meat, these kinds of cases would at most have us sending some people over to take a look and take a report. For it to be completely investigated is rather impossible, the female officer said to Mo Fan. All right, thank you. Another thing, if someone makes a report regarding theft or destruction of meat, then please notify me as soon as possible. These are my contact details, Mo Fan said to the female officer who helped him find the information. All right, the female officer seemed to be a rather new worker. She was very enthusiastic toward most things. After leaving the police station, Mo Fan returned home to browse through the materials of these thefts and destroyed meat. The frequency of these events is relatively high within the Pudong district. Most of the recent cases are along one street. This place should be close to the harbor. The imported meat would all be stored around here before they use trucks to deliver it across the city. Mo Fan quickly had a direction to work from. On the same day, Mo Fan went to one street, which was near the harbor in Pudong district. Having the identity of a high-tier hunter made it very convenient to get things done. As long as he was investigating a case, especially one related to magical beasts, the workers would definitely cooperate and tell him everything they knew. Mo Fan had arrived at the beef storehouse and began to cautiously investigate the area. The materials given to him by Zhang Xiaoho stated that the shadow beast was a creature whose tail tended to shed hair. The lost hair would have a fluorescent glow. Thus, if he was trying to find the location of the shadow beast, it would be very easy to use the fluorescent light from the tail hair to determine whether it had appeared in this area or not. After searching through more than 20 beef storage areas in succession, Mo Fan finally came to a beef storage area that was not carefully maintained and found a fluorescent tail hair. The lost tail hair will disintegrate into dust within 7 days. This hair has almost turned into dust. His investigation did not let him find the exact location of the shadow beast. All it did was tell him that it had been around this area. The time it stayed here was relatively short. Finding the clues here was of no use. Mo Fan could only leave to find the next suspicious area. Not too long after Mo Fan had left the beef storage, another team of people came over. Furthermore, each one of them began to look over the different beef storages. Brothers, could it be a real magical beast appeared? There was already someone who came by before to take a look, a worker said as he trembled in fear. Oh, there's someone who would come here before us, Shen Mingxiao asked, feeling slightly shocked. Shen Mingxiao was also one of the more reputable people within the school. He had relied on the connections he had within the Hunter Union to come all this way and thought he was the very first one to obtain these clues. Who would have thought that someone had already been here? It seems like we need to be even faster. If it was found by someone else first, that would be bad, Luo Song said. Don't worry, the shadow beast can only be ours, Sheng Mingxiao declared. After Mo Fan left the beef warehouses, he began to proceed toward the Wangpu River. Hello, who is this? Just when Mo Fan was about to reach the next area, his phone began to ring. Mr. Hunter, it's me. I have just gotten a tip that there is a huge amount of beef being stolen by an old meat vendor in Zhujiang'an. Do you want to go and take a look? The female officer inside the police station called to say. All right, I'll go and take a look. Thank you. I'll treat you to a meal next time, Mo Fan said. Oh, a man with a mask covering half his face was standing in a parking lot by a very common convenience store, a cold expression on what was left of his features. A completely black creature was standing next to him. Its long claws were wrapped around the cold and sweaty female officer's throat. If the beast's claws closed lightly, then the policewoman's blood would definitely splash everywhere. You've done well, I won't kill you. This, however, does not mean I won't kill your family. So, if you want your family to live, you better not tell this to anyone, the man with the mask said, an ominous glint in his eyes. The truth was, he wanted to kill people. After his face had been ruined, he had imagined every single person he had killed off to be Mo Fan. However, he didn't kill this policewoman. If she died, then the people of the magic court would rapidly be in pursuit of him. The Black Vatican enjoyed slaughter. Killing people didn't need any logic behind it, but before they killed someone, they would make sure it didn't bring them any trouble. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 220 Entering the Trap by Mistake. Along the Wangpu River bank, there was light coming from a high location in the distance. These lights were flickering in different colors as they reflected on the surface of the river. Following the movement of the stream, it looked like a floating, colored ribbon in the dark. A heavy odor similar to excrement drifted by, instantly ruining the beautiful scenery. This was followed by a number of black figures coming out of the river, one by one. The odor came precisely from these figures. The 5 figures in the front looked like they were chasing away animals as they let out a severe, excoriating noise. They began to swiftly move toward Zhujiang'an, because they had to gather there before their objective arrived. Hui Si, you stay on the outside. The second you see our objective, notify me immediately. The man wore a long gray cloak that covered his body and a mask covering his face. The 5 of them were all wearing long gray cloaks. All of their bodies emitted a strange odor, and from one glance, you could tell they weren't good people. Yes sir. The person called Huisi immediately stood guard outside. They entered a rather shabby factory. This factory seemed like it recycled lower quality meat, as it smelled like meat everywhere. There were a lot of other things mixed together with it, so it smelled more like dog food, which could still be sold for a good price somewhere. The factory had some machines in operation. However, there was not a single person inside, perhaps no one within 100 meters. Once we've gotten our objective, remember he needs to be alive. Do not fail, or else you know what will happen. Hui pointed at the dark beasts crawling around the floor, who only knew how to listen to orders. The other three people glanced at the dark beasts and couldn't help but shiver coldly. The scariest part about the Black Vatican was that once you'd made a mistake, the punishment you got was even worse than dying. Outside of the factory, a man with a purple outfit slowly approached. His eyes were very solemn in the middle of the night. Lulu, you stay here. I'll go in and take a look, the guy said toward the girl next to him with a high ponytail. Don't go in, they look very dangerous. Shouting, why are you following these people? Just what are those half-human, half-monster things? The girl with the high ponytail, Lulu, said. When he unintentionally caught a whiff of an unusual odor from a student, Zhu Zhaoting seemed like he had turned into a different person. Zhang Lulu did not understand what had happened. She could only follow Zhu Zhaoting. Don't ask, you stay here. If I don't come back within 10 minutes, you must leave immediately. Remember, don't stay here, Zhu Zhaoting said in a very serious tone. Originally, Zhu Zhaoting and Zhang Lulu were looking for the clues of the shadow beast together. However, when they were looking for clues around a playground, Zhu Zhaoting caught a whiff of a very unusual odor. This odor was something Zhu Zhaoting would never forget. That's because it was emitted from a creature with a pitch-black body that had appeared during the calamity of Bo City. Zhu Zhaoting really hoped that his own sense of smell had a problem. However, when he was stealthily following that student, he had discovered that the student was a dark beast. Black Vatican. It was the people from the Black Vatican. They seemed to be scheming something again. Zhu Zhaoting hated the people from the Black Vatican to the bone. They were the people that caused his family's death. Near Zhu Zhaoting's home was a lair tunnel. When he went to the different districts to find his family with a depressed spirit, he only found a white paper with names. His father, mother, little brother, and grandma's names were all on the white paper. He had survived, but suddenly, he was by himself. Zhu Zhaoting did his best to forget about it. He wanted to live again in a new environment. He met an alright girl, and being with her made him very happy. This made him forget about the pain. However, today, he smelled this odor. This kind of odor was emitted from a student in the Pearl Institute. When he had pursued that student to this place, he had actually discovered this student was a member of the Black Vatican. This factory seemed to be their nest. He had to go in there to confirm it. If that really was the case, he would immediately notify the magic courts to have them come here. These godforsaken Black Vatican, he had to completely eliminate all of them from this world. Zhu Zhaoting had already slowly infiltrated the factory. The factory was immensely large, with many places for him to hide. Zhu Zhaoting was confident in being able to protect himself. Zhang Lulu was waiting outside. She did not have any movement spells, so the only thing she could do was wait outside and guard. She was very worried. She didn't know who these people were, however, she could feel that they were extremely savage. If Zhu Zhaoting was discovered, then his life might not be guaranteed. Zhu Zhaoting had awakened his second element. His second element was the wind element. This was a relatively good thing for him. He needed a spell that allowed him to move quickly. Otherwise, he'd have a strong destructive lightning, but no abilities to protect himself. Zhu Zhaoting had infiltrated through a broken window. He was standing on one of those crossed steel bars as he overlooked the large and spacious factory. They were indeed here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strange. Why are they missing 1? Zhu Zhaoting was watching from up top and had only discovered 4 grey-cloaked people hiding here. They looked like they were awaiting someone to ambush. "Are you looking for me?" A dark and cold voice spoke up from behind him. Zhu Zhaoting's face was shocked as he looked behind him. He realized one of them was standing not too far behind him. Zhu Zhaoting was stunned. How did they find him? Could it be that they actually set up a trap inside this factory? Impossible. When he was following them before, there was no way they could have discovered him. Lightning strike, wrath strike. Zhu Zhaoting's reaction was fairly quick. He quickly condensed lightning within his hands. The imprints of lightning immediately appeared in his surroundings as Zhu Zhaoting quickly interlinked his stars. They turned into a couple of purple serpents as they flew toward the person behind him. The lightning would conduct through the steel bars. These conducted lightnings were able to win him an opportunity at a key moment. It's the lightning element. The objective has appeared. Catch him. Hu Yi, who looked like the leader, immediately raced over. The other 3 had already prepared a trap. Following the order, black figures emerged from all of the exits and windows. A strong smell of excrement began to rise all around. Zhu Zhaoting looked around his surroundings in shock and realized that he had been completely surrounded. In the front were around 10 of them. On the beam of the steel bar were 7. From the exits and windows, there were around another 8. There was a total of 25 dark beasts. Zhu Zhaoting could never have imagined that they had actually set up a trap here to surround him. Just how were they able to discover he was following them? "I'm gonna kill you," Zhu Zhaoting yelled out, his face filled with extreme rage. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.